Jack Calloway stood at the edge of Thunder Road Motors, his family's motorcycle dealership, wearing a frayed leather jacket and scuffed boots. At 52, his salt-and-pepper beard and weary eyes made him look like any other down-on-his-luck biker passing through town. But he wasn't just another biker. He was the owner, the man who had turned his father's small-town shop into the largest dealership in Arizona yet, standing there, he felt like a stranger in his own world. Rumors had been circling. Shady sales tactics. Hidden fees. Customers being pushed into overpriced deals. Jack had built this empire, but at what cost? His father, Hank Calloway, had founded this place on honesty and loyalty. His motto had always been "Ride with honor." But Jack had been so caught up in expansion, in profit margins, that he hadn't stopped to see if his father's legacy was still alive, or if he had killed it. Tonight, he'd find out. The showroom buzzed with activity. Rows of polished chrome gleamed under the fluorescent lights. Eager salesmen in pressed shirts circled customers like vultures. The air smelled of leather, rubber, and the faint scent of burnt coffee from the break room. Jack lingered near a vintage Harley, watching his staff. His stomach tightened when he spotted Dex, one of his top salesmen, smooth-talking a customer. Dex was slick, always had been. Diamond earring, bleached teeth, a handshake so firm it felt rehearsed. Jack listened in. "Looking for a ride, buddy? We got deals so good, you'll think we're losing money," Dex said with a grin that was all teeth and no soul. Jack played along, pretending to be a customer, haggling over prices he knew by heart. At first, it was amusing. But then, Dex started listing hidden fees. Mandatory insurance add-on, $599. Processing fee, $899. Premium service package, $1,299. Jack's chest burned. This isn't how Dad ran things. Before he could say anything, two men walked in behind him. The taller one, lean with a faded army jacket, muttered under his breath, "Ain't no way we're getting a fair deal here." His friend, a burly mechanic with grease-stained hands, shook his head. "We gotta try, Vince. My kid's got chemo appointments. Sold my truck last week. This is all I got left." Jack froze. The words hit like a punch to the gut. Dex, oblivious, slid up to them. "Gentlemen, what can I do for you today?" Vince pointed to a beat-up motorcycle in the corner. "How much for that one?" His voice was brittle, already bracing for disappointment. Dex smirked. "That old thing? $8,500. Final price." The mechanic's face crumpled. But the online ad said $4,000. Dex shrugged. "Technical error. Price updated this morning." Jack clenched his fists. He'd had enough. "You're fired." The words cut through the air like a knife. The showroom froze. Dex's smirk faded. "Excuse me?" Jack yanked off his sunglasses. "I said, get out." The color drained from Dex's face. "Mr. Calloway, I didn't know, now." Jack's voice left no room for argument. Dex stammered, then turned and bolted toward the exit. Jack turned to the two men. They were staring, wide-eyed. "The bike's yours." $4,000. "No fees," Jack said. Vince's mouth opened, then closed. His friend wiped his eyes. I don't know what to say." "Say thank you and sign the paperwork," Jack said, forcing a small smile. But Vince wasn't done. He studied Jack, arms crossed. "Why the act? You own this place. Why pretend?" Jack hesitated. "To see if my dad's legacy was still alive, or if I buried it." The paperwork was finalized. But as Vince prepared to leave, he lingered. "Knew your old man," Vince said finally. "He fixed my bike for free once. Said a man's worth ain't in his wallet, it's in his word." Jack swallowed hard. He hadn't heard those words in years. Vince reached into his pocket and pulled out a faded photograph. It was a younger Hank Calloway, grinning beside a motorcycle. "Kept this for 20 years, Vince murmured. "Your dad. He drove me to the hospital when my wife was dying. Never asked for a dime." Jack stared at the photo. The man in it was the father he'd idolized. And, somewhere along the way, forgotten. That night, Jack sat alone in his empty showroom, staring at the photograph. For years, he'd chased success. Bigger numbers. More dealerships. He thought he was honoring his father's dream. But success had come at a cost. Somewhere in the expansion, the soul of the place had been lost. The next morning, a new sign hung outside Thunder Road Motors, "Where your word is your ride." Brody's son got to his chemo appointment. Vince became the shop's head mechanic. And Jack, he spent Saturdays on the floor, talking to customers, listening to their stories. Listening. His father had once told him, "Life ain't about the miles you rack up. It's about who you take with you." For the first time in years, Jack knew exactly where he was going. Because sometimes, the road to redemption doesn't start with a destination, it starts with remembering where you came from. That's the story, friends. I hope it resonated with you. If you've ever felt lost, if you've ever wondered whether you were on the right path, just remember, it's never too late to turn back. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from? And if this story spoke to you, hit that subscribe button. More stories are coming your way. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.